Everyone, welcome back. It is all kicking off in Formula One. I think day after day, the Verstappens continue to get exposed. And day after day, Lewis Hamilton continues to shine. Today, we're going to take a look at a few different things. But starting with this, Damon Hill says Max is brilliant. I like him. I mean, what's not to like? He's sensational. But we'll always call him out when he has overstepped the mark with his aggressive driving style. He said if someone was to do to Max what Max does to others, he'd cry like a baby. And it's true. He would cry like a he really would because that's who he is at this point in time. That is who he is, and it doesn't seem like there's any change possible on the horizon. Also, additionally, these are some of the race simulators, and these have been published recently. I don't know how accurate these are, but it's looking like McLaren has the clear lead, which is obvious because the way Lando was stringing that fastest lap together, and he wasn't even trying. The car looked like it just wanted to go faster. I was like, yep, they're onto something. And it looks like the rest of the field is sort of like close together. Like Ferrari is going to be close to Red Bull is going to be close to Mercedes. But they all seem really close. Now, if it turns out to be this close, like Ferrari is 1.5 tenths behind in race pace, Red Bull 2 tenths behind, Mercedes just around 2 tenths, maybe 2.5 behind. Well, like I said, the competition will continue this season, and I love that. But sadly, 2026, everything is going to change, and it's going to go back to a boring Formula One racing like we're used to. But I do want to stay on topic. Remember to subscribe to the channel. You know, the channel has been growing. Thank you all for your support. It's actually been really phenomenal. It's been really amazing. Thank you all for your support. I haven't replied to every comment, but I'm trying my best. Another thing, there's a link to our Twitter account. Follow us on Twitter to get more regularly updates. And also, hopefully, in the future, we can open spaces on Twitter to have conversations. But you know what I really want to look at in this video is Lewis Hamilton's hit back at F1 establishment and powerful statement. We'll also take a look at Lewis Hamilton's new steering wheel at Ferrari and how similar it is to his former steering wheel at Mercedes. So let's get into Lewis Hamilton's powerful statement. I'm sorry, I just finished my video. And I was just about to edit this video. That's why you see Final Cut jumping right there. I just opened Twitter again and Lewis Hamilton walking out of a Monaco, is either his Monaco apartment or I don't fully know where he is at, but he's in Monaco. That's where he lives, and he's jumping on his astonishing bike. Oh my goodness, we're gonna turn down the audio. We don't want to get any problems with this audio, but that is a classic Lewis Hamilton look, in terms of bike. Oh my goodness. He loves his red. Red is his favorite color. I don't know if anyone else knows that. Well, it's just Lewis riding around on his bike. That is so surreal. And people probably don't even know it's him. Holy crap. I can tell you one thing though. People would recognize him pretty quickly. Well, they probably recognize him now though. But how incredible, man. Just living his best life after testing, cruising on his bike. This is something I haven't seen him done in such a long time. I don't know, maybe he's getting new freedom with Ferrari. Reinvigorated. That's what the man said. Reinvigorated. Incredible. Incredible. This is like we're getting the OG Lewis Hamilton back. I love this. It's like he's at this point in his career where he's like, bro, I've got nothing to lose. You guys have taken everything you can take from me, my championship. I got nothing to lose. I'm just gonna speak my mind, and whoever gets offended gets offended. He's just walking with a swagger with the helmet on. He's getting a little bit too much of the photography attention, and lately he's been trying to be a bit more incognito. And I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm scrolling, and all I'm seeing is Lewis Hamilton on his bike, or Lewis Hamilton in the garage. Lewis Hamilton is hit back at Formula One figures who've criticized his age and performance ahead of his switch to Ferrari in a powerful statement. The seven-time world champion finished seventh in the 2024 drivers' stand-in, and behind them, Mercedes teammate George Russell in a season where Hamilton was left doubting his speed and ability. Well, Lewis didn't really have a doubt. He didn't really have much doubt. The things that he was saying was mostly him just joking and just, trying to play it off. What was really happening was it was a breakup. And in a breakup, She chose side. Mercedes chose a side. That was George Russell's side. They chose to continue to prioritize George from the start of the season. Because it's certainly strange to me that Lewis had no qualifying problem in 2023, but in 2024, out of nowhere, he has a qualifying problem. Race pace was even better. Race pace was insane sometimes, but qualifying, he just wasn't there. Obviously, Mercedes were investing more into George, and Lewis just wasn't a priority anymore. And that's normal when someone's switching team. That is very, very normal. It's a normal process. The only way this doesn't happen is if Lewis was leaving the team and the other guy in the next car was like, I don't know, who's a really mediocre driver? Hulkenberg. But when they have another serious guy in the other car, such as George Russell, of course they focus on George. He's the leader of the team now. So Hamilton's performance issue prompted doubt over whether he could succeed at Ferrari, including former F1 boss Bernie Ecclestone, who launched a vehement attack on the champion in the Telegraph. Oof. Yeah, Bernie always got something to say. You know, for a man, he's 94 years old, he spends most of his time talking about Lewis, and honestly, it seems more like an obsession. Quickly, just look at this title right here. Verstappen ban could offer Ricardo shock F1 return. Verstappen ban. You see, these people will write anything sometimes. Yeah, you can't take too many things too serious sometimes. Anyway, the 94-year-old Bernie Ecclestone claimed Hamilton would not last long at Ferrari, that he would have lots of enemies, and he even went as far as to insult his appearance and interest out of Formula One, adding, Lewis gets himself up front in a way where you can dislike him. And apparently Bernie Ecclestone, is not disliked by anyone, apparently. It's almost as if he's describing himself, That's really what it sounds like. Anyway, the highly anticipated 2025 Ferrari Formula One merch is available to buy right now. Why are they adding that? That is so hilarious. Did they get paid to add that? Hamilton issues powerful message to F1 critics. However, since arriving at Ferrari, Hamilton appears rejuvenated. That's the word he used. You should have quoted him instead of, just putting that word in there like he didn't use it himself, and ready to re-enter the title race. Recently aiming a powerful response to the criticism such as Ecclestone via Time magazine. Don't ever compare me to anyone else, Hamilton said. I'm the first and only black driver that's ever been in the sport. I'm built different. I've been through a lot. I've had my own journey. You can't compare me to another 40-year-old, past or present, Formula One driver in history, because they're nothing like me. I'm hungry, driven, don't have a wife or kids. I'm focused on one thing, and that's winning. That's my number one priority. It went on to say, I've always welcomed the negativity, the champion added. I never ever reply to any of the older, ultimately white men who have commented on my career and what they think I should be doing. However, you show up, how you present yourself, how you perform slowly dispels that. That is true. So this is the official statement that Lewis made, and it seems to be stirring up a lot of controversy. I want to hear from you. What do you think about this statement that he made? Some people will take it out of context. Some people will just find it distasteful. Some people will have different opinion on it. Ultimately say, I never ever reply to any of the older, ultimately, white men who have commented on my career. So he's stating the fact. Men like Bernie Ecclestone and some other men as well that are predominantly white, they do love to comment on his career and his lifestyle and criticize him in various different ways. So once you read the quote, it is not so bad, I guess. But what do you think? Do you think he shouldn't have added the color right there? Because we all know the media is just going to run with that. They're just going to run with that. And some people are not going to bother to read the article to understand what he's trying to say. Some people just take these media, they will write a headline that says, that just, give you it short and blunt. And a lot of people don't read into the article to understand. They just read the title, they just take it and they just run with it and they just criticize. So yeah, it'll be interesting to find out what you think about that. Now, we want to get into another subject, how Lewis steering wheel caught the attention of F1 nerds. Well, that is true. It was quite interesting. Ollie Bearman has admitted he had a watchful eye on Lewis Hamilton, or more specifically his Ferrari steering wheel, to see what he had adjusted. It's a normal process for other drivers to ask certain switches and dials to be placed where they would like them, as changing settings at speed becomes part of their muscle memory. And Ferrari Jr. admitted that he's a bit of a nerd when it comes to that area of the car. Every driver wants the car to be set up to their liking, with Bearman revealing in his case that he's using a single clutch on his gearbox over the double clutch system preferred by others on the grid, and the new Haas driver used his time in pre-testing to not only run as many laps in it as possible, but to take in what was happening around him. Being a Ferrari junior, he has plenty of experience with how the Scuderia tend to set up, so he looked for a glimpse of how a 7-time world champion wanted to have his steering wheel after joining the team. I've seen a few interesting things Bearman told media, including F1Planet.com in Bahrain. He said, and I quote, "First of all, Lewis in the Ferrari was pretty cool, and seeing how much he's changed on the steering wheel, for example, is something that has caught my attention." He went on to say, "But even me, when I went to Haas, just moving things around to what you're used to is important. I can imagine after 10 years in the same car, you built up some habits." Ask if this came about because of still being plugged into Ferrari and what is happening there. The teenager admitted wanting to catch a glimpse of Hamilton's setup was simply born of his own interest in subject more than anything else. He said, "I was interested, just I knew he would change a few things on his steering wheel like it happened every year." But let's see, we really want to get a closer look at Lewis' steering wheel. Hopefully we can find something on the Ferrari F1 Twitter page, Can't guarantee that we'll find anything, but I was hoping we would find something at least, but we haven't really found much. But well, that's a terrible photo, but that is a glimpse, isn't it? However, for the most part, the thing to keep in mind is that he has changed it to something that he needs, to something that he likes, and something that he wants. And that makes a lot of sense because he did the same thing when he went to Mercedes, but arguably at Mercedes, he changed even more. Yeah, he changed a lot. He changed so much to the fact that he didn't just change, buttons. He changed the actual layout of what a steering wheel represents. And since then, everyone's on the grid pretty much been using the same layout. Lewis actually said, and I remember, he actually said he wished he'd patterned that design and idea because I guess he just didn't realize that, what he was doing was so much more preferred and that other drivers will inevitably adopt to it or try it out. They did, and as typically, you can't expect this man to get any credit for that. But with Lewis being in the new team that he is, being amongst the new folks that he is, he seems super happy. But I am a little bit concerned that a lot of people are going to take his recent comments out of context. I know what they mean. I understand what it means. You will probably understand what it means. But a lot of people will want to take it out of context on purpose. A lot of people will take it out of context because they just can't understand it. But do you think it was a wise move for Lewis to make such a statement? That is a rather spicy one, if I'm being completely honest. There's another glimpse of Lewis' steering wheel. What is this thing, like a secret? You can barely see anything. With some of the laps we've seen, Lewis steering wheel. Curious to note, by the way, what you guys think about potentially Susie Wolff taking on the role of running for FIA president. It's like I said in other videos, there's a lot of people who support this idea, naturally. Damien Hill definitely supports this idea. I definitely support this idea. But it's like I said, with Ben Salon being in that position, it seems like the president is chosen by the sponsors who are sponsoring the FIA. So if Susie Wolff cannot sponsor the FIA, meaning money, then I don't think she'll get that. She'll get the FIA presidency, although she is perfect for it. She is literally perfect for it, especially in what she's accomplished in motorsport and what she wants to accomplish even more in motorsport, what she stands for. I think she'd be great at that. But it's like I said, the people who are controlling the FIA, they're the ones who are funding the FIA the most and providing the most sponsorships. I don't think Susie is doing that. I don't think she intends to do that. So that's why you see Ben Salam in that position, because him and his people, they fund the FIA. They sponsor the FIA big time, so they get a lot of power within the FIA. And I know I'm not making this up because that man can literally get away with anything. You can get away with anything, and it begs the question, and he's not very good at his job either, so it begs the question, why the hell is he in that position? He's in that position because he got money. It's kind of like how drivers back in the day used to pay to drive a Formula One car. They used to pay teams to allow them to drive the Formula One car. It tends to be the opposite. Teams usually pay a good driver to drive a Formula One car, but a shit driver would usually pay to drive a Formula One car. It's called a paid driver. It's called being a paid driver. But sometimes great drivers pay to drive Formula One cars. Niki Lauda was a great driver, and he was paying a team initially to drive a Formula One car, and then he proves his skill, and then he continue. But some drivers are not good enough, and they still pay to drive a Formula One car. I believe Nikita Mazepin was a famous one as well. Oh yes, actually perfect. This is a good look at Lewis Hamilton's steering wheel, but I think this is predominantly from behind the steering wheel. But also you get a glimpse of what the difference is with Charles Leclerc's steering wheel. You can see there are subtle differences, but there are key differences. Certain things that Lewis just needs and certain things that just works better for him. Personalize his steering wheel to his liking. And there's a little glimpse of what it looks like in the cockpit. Now, to be honest, we could spend an entire hour going through this setup and layout and getting more images to make this make sense. But for years now, we've had an idea of what Lewis, Mercedes Formula One steering wheel has looked like, so that's no secret. But the Ferrari one, we're still getting images, we're still understanding it. So essentially, if you'd like to see a video solely on his steering wheel, then you let me know and I'll consider it. But, for the most part, there it is, Lewis Hamilton's famous steering wheel at Mercedes. So his steering wheel at Ferrari, the layout as far as I'm aware of, is sticking to this design interpretations, probably with some minor improvements that Lewis wants to make. So I look forward to seeing what you have to say about everything we've spoken about in this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Remember to follow us on Twitter. Thank you all for the support. It's been really phenomenal. You've all been watching, supporting, liking, and commenting. I really appreciate that. I haven't been able to answer every comment yet, but I'm working on it. So thank you all for your support. Leave a like and leave a comment, and I will see you in our next video. Peace.